about this.
CIA secretly funded abstract art.
Not exactly.
Creative expression. Everything the U.S. wanted to contrast with Soviet realism and the propaganda art of its time. History tells us that the more authoritarian the government, the more realistic the art becomes.
Sort of. So let's look at some of this abstraction the CIA was funding. This, and this. Wait, are those all super abstract expressionists? No, they're not. So I will say Josie says accurately that the artists actually didn't know that they were being funded via the CIA. And that is true. But there is this huge talking point on the internet that abstraction, I hate it. And it's because the CIA picked it out. It's a psyop, so I can hate it, which is a real anti-intellectual take. So when you make a video that's a talking point that they funded abstract expressionism, plays into the anti-intellectualism in our society. So yes, there were exhibitions in the middle of the 20th century that went through MoMA and Whitney and went around the world that did have abstract expressionism, including Jackson Pollock, Robert Motherwell, and William de Kooning. But these exhibitions, checklists are completely available on the internet, also included a lot of realism. Because, as Eisenhower says, these exhibitions were supposed to show that our artists are free to create with sincerity and conviction. Georgia O'Keeffe, for example, did try other kinds of abstraction before she went up with this stylized realism. There were a lot of people who overlapped, like Ben Shahn, who did social realism. And this showed a very complex lens on the United States. These aren't rah-rah America. And for the country to show that, and for the CIA basically to fund this going out there, it highlights they wanted to show the freedom of the artist. So they didn't have to make abstraction. And remember, abstraction didn't start in the United States. It started in Europe. So the CIA had nothing to do with the beginning of abstraction. They just wanted to show artists can do what they want. That's the other challenge with that video. It's a very specific kind of realism that authoritarians love. It's a very jingoistic look at a specific society with messages that are very easy to understand. I do not read Russian, cannot understand Cyrillic letters. I get that this is, our workers are doing great, our society is strong. So the CIA wanted to send out art into the world that showed that American art do not have to say what the government wants them to, and they can make art they want, including abstraction. But one more caveat. For the vast majority of the art-making history, governments were paying for art. So if you don't like abstraction because it's a CIA government psyop, you'll have to stop liking Egyptian art and the Sistine Chapel and any art that's shown at any museum today, because most museums get some federal funding.